Howdy, y'all. Welcome to the EEARSS Podcast, produced by Terrier TV. My name is Frank Robb. That is Bill. That is Cindy. Thank you all for being here. How's it going, guys?
It's going wonderfully. It's the end of the school year, and let me tell you
You're very
something.
excited.
No, well, I am excited and tired.
Rightfully so, I would say.
Just ready for, ready for the end of the school year. I have put up blackout curtains in my bedroom in preparation for the summer. I'm sleeping all summer long. That's my goal.
Just keep the sun out?
Oh, yeah, dude. It's dark. I'm going to sleep. The sun is not going to wake me up.
Are you doing any traveling this summer?
Not planning on it right now.
Really?
I mean, I am going in June, with my parents and my brothers. We're going over to see the Rays play. So
Okay,
we're
that'll
gonna
be
go
fun. That's nice.
Catch a Rays game. I think Lee and the boys might be coming in July.
Any idea who they're playing when you're over there?
Baltimore, the Orioles.
Really?
Yeah.
Ironic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. You're heading there, aren't you?
Well, yeah.
In
Maybe I'm heading somewhere up north next
maybe.
week. Maybe.
Somewhere.
Yeah, because we won't have a podcast next week because I'll be somewhere up north doing something with reptiles. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
mysterious.
It's a story for another time.
He is a mysterious man.
You know me. The life of mystery
Okay.
of Frank.
Okay, Cindy, you have to say something now.
Cindy.
No, I'm enjoying this. I'm fine.
How is the
okay.
How's the family?
Great.
Yeah. Is Justin still causing trouble?
Of course.
Yeah. I respect that. So, okay. Viewers want to know, I've heard this question 3 times since we posted it. Is the koi pond now filled up, or is it still possible to be a koi pond?
I have done nothing. I have made no progress.
So it's a disaster waiting to happen? Like you can walk in the backyard and fall into it?
You could, yeah.
Is there water in it now or no?
There is stagnant water in it.
I respect stagnant water.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So maybe you need a reptile or 2 in it? Is that what you're saying?
Frank, I need you to stop. We both know I don't need that.
You could get her an otter.
Oh, my garage.
could.
Yes, I've heard they can be a handful.
I could tame one.
We need
We'd
to
be
we need to
friends.
have Megan Stolen back on the
We do.
podcast.
Megan needs
legitimately-
to tell some
I-
stories.
So
I am
can
gonna
tell me
post.
I'm
I'm gonna
insane.
tag Megan Stolen in this podcast, and we're gonna see if we can get her back on. She was our second guest, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Second guest ever.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was a thing of legend, that podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was very entertaining.
It was. Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot.
I did. Otters are, man, they're not exactly bloodthirsty.
You do
but
not want to mess with them.
no, you don't want to. They'll pull a knife.
They're not cuddly.
They look so cuddly though.
They do. They do.
We were down at the zoo this past week because we're doing a lot of our research in the lab side there, and they had these giant river otters, which again they look so awesome. Like you just want to like go shake his hand and hang out with him, and
Right.
like maybe go out to dinner and
Well, with
talk
the
about
whiskers and
things.
everything, looks like a cat.
Indeed, you want to compare. I want to compare my whiskers to his whiskers.
There you go.
And just see whose whiskers are longer and talk about life. And then you get into it and they're like, wow, those things are, man, they're packing razor blades. I mean, more than just razor blades, they're packing like Bowie knives
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
on every finger. Is it every finger or is it only
I don't know.
of the 5
You're
fingers?
asking me about the anatomy of an animal. I don't know. Cindy's the expert. Cindy, you tell us.
Yeah, Cindy, what do you think? Do you think they have Bowie knives on 5 fingers or 4?
I think that we would get along great, and I don't think I would have to meet those Bowie knives. I don't think it matters.
I respect that too. That's completely fair. So do you guys want to jump into today's podcast?
Yes, sir.
Now that we
Let's
talked
do it.
about otter
Please
anatomy
do.
that we don't know how to answer.
That's
See,
true.
again, when we
we
have
can
Megan
ask
on,
him. Maybe he knows something about ours.
there's not a whole lot that John doesn't know about. So,
So maybe.
I
we
literally
can
just
ask
put all that on him before we even got him on the podcast.
Yeah, you did.
So let's hope we didn't give him too much to handle here.
Okay.
All right, so today on the EEARSS Podcast, we are joined by Jon Meisenbach. Did I butcher it?
What, Frank?
Dag nabbit.
You said it perfect,
You did.
I told him I told him it was
Earlier.
going to be trouble.
and now
I told him it was
not
going to
even
be
close.
trouble.
Yep.
So yeah, today in the podcast we are joined by Jon Meisenbach.
Meisenbach.
Dag nabbit, John. I warned
It's
you.
not even that
I
hard,
warned you
Frank.
that I was going to get it right and then butcher it afterwards,
It
and I am
sounds
so
exactly
sorry.
as it looks.
You're good. You're good. You got it.
Yep, I appreciate you lying. for me.
Eventually.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, John, I'm trying to think. I was telling.
No, forget it. We're going straight to the otter question. So, do you know anything about otters?
Do you have an understanding of otters, John?
I have a very limited understanding. I've seen them. I'm aware of otters, but I don't really know that much about them.
So you know that they exist.
I've heard that they're a thing.
You're about where we're at right now. Then,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
We're all in the same place.
We all have the same amount of knowledge.
So, John, I'm trying to think. The first time me and you met was, interestingly enough, I was on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what it's not Twitter anymore now. It's X
now, yeah.
Which I don't understand
Yes.
the name change. I don't quite get it. Maybe I'm not supposed to. It's above my pay grade. But I was on there and I was looking. I'd been following this channel, which was _crocodiles, and they were always posting the coolest crocodile stuff and information and this education. I'm like, man, just out of curiosity, I have to know who's running this channel / page, whatever you want to call a thing on Twitter. I don't know what the technical name for it is. And I reached out to you, and you were telling me, yes, my name's Jonathan, and believe it or not, I'm in Chicago. And it was right after the whole Chicago thing had happened.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, the irony behind that. You're in Chicago. The irony.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I've kind of had that account. I had it under different names before, but I've had that account I think since 2015 or so. I was looking. And yeah, I just was kind of just posting stuff, stuff that I thought was interesting, pictures that I had taken in my travels or going to the zoo. And yeah, that's kind of where that kind of came from. It was just kind of an interest in crocodilians.
So where does that passion come from, John?
Well, for the majority of my adult life, I've worked in zoos. I mean, more recently, I've kind of switched over to the museum world. But I've worked in zoos. I've lived in Florida, and was kind of living in close proximity to them, you might say. And yeah, I just think they're really interesting animals. I think they get a bad rap a lot of the time. I mean, I think a lot of animals get a bad rap, but yeah, it was kind of the thing. A friend of mine who's I was working with, she kind of got me really interested in them too. She was a zookeeper, and we had gone to Africa together and went to like a conference, the CSG Crocodile Specialist Group conference, and that really sold me on it in terms of like, yeah, this is a really cool thing, and these are animals that don't get enough love and respect.
Yeah, so you were also telling me that you are a CSG member, which is rare because there's more of us now than there probably ever have been, but being an appointed member myself, it was very cool to find out that you were also a CSG member.
I'm actually not, though. I'm not. I got into like that conference as kind of a civilian, so to speak, but like I have never really officially joined, but like I've made some contacts with people that are like yourself that are official CSG, but no, I've just been, I guess, kind of a fanboy, you might say.
Oh, well, it's a pretty cool group to be a fan of. So yeah, maybe we need to talk to you about being a CSG member. We needed to have that discussion.
What is that?
Cindy's asking what that is.
Yes.
I saw the question coming.
Thank
The
you.
CSG is the Crocodile Specialist Group, which is a group of biologists, scientists.
Who specialize in crocodiles.
It's
You
actually
don't say.
It's hilarious.
That's
It's
not
a
what I
group
would have
of
guessed.
people from around the world that have multiple aspects. So I think of conservation of being a cube with 6 sides. They literally have people from every side of the cube that are part of the group. Everybody from high dillers on. I mean, it's everybody that's had any portion of conservation of crocodilians are part of what's going on. And it leads to some pretty interesting discussions, doesn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm trying to think. The first time you and I actually met in person, it was in Chicago. After I had told you, I'm like, I hunt the Field Museum like a crazy person. Every time I go up there, I'm like, it's a place I make sure I visit every single time I'm in Chicago. Maybe one of the first places I actually stopped too, because it's so vast, and you can get lost in the place. I still haven't even seen probably a 10th of it. And you were telling me you worked there, and we hooked up, had lunch, and talked about your work and what you're doing. And tell us a little bit about that. First, how you kind of got into that, and what you do for the Field Museum.
Sure. So I kind of started on this career path. I started working in Florida. I got an internship at Walt Disney World at Animal Kingdom, and so I started there and not really knowing what to do with my life. I was maybe going to do the whole pre-med thing, go to medical school at some point, but then that didn't necessarily pan out. And so
It
yeah,
doesn't
they were
for many
looking.
of us, John.
It happens. You all the best laid plans, and things change, and you figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not so great at. And I found that out. And so yeah, I was basically going to graduate from school and not really sure what to do with my life. And yeah, Disney had this conservation education internship, so I was like, okay, 6 months. I can kind of delay making any big decisions of where I'm going, and went there and ended up loving it, and ended up staying 5 years, kind of doing tours, managing some of the behind the scenes programs there. And it really kind of dominated where I put my efforts in my career moving forward, because I ended up moving back here to Illinois. I worked at a couple different zoos up here, mostly in the education realm, doing like summer camp stuff. I did we have like a farm here in the middle of the city. I was working there for a bit too. And then eventually I got into the museum world. And museums don't necessarily have living animals, living crocodilians, but we do have a pretty extensive collection of like skulls and things from history that are able to assist scientists in studying not just crocs, but pretty much anything you can imagine. So I've really kind of put my focus on education. It's still what I do. And I'm working on some temporary exhibits that are coming to the museum. I've kind of like taken a break from the whole Twitter thing for a while, but I still have that in my back pocket, and I like engaging with people on there. But yeah, that's kind of my story about what I've been doing.
Are you able to share a little about those temporary exhibits you're working on, or are they still top secret?
I can share a little bit about it. I know, Frank, I know areas that you have visited up here, like the reptile hall has been an area that you have been very interested in. There's some really great models of crocodilians. There's a great display with a gharial, a croc, an alligator, so you can really compare the three. And so that whole exhibit dates back to maybe the 50s, if not earlier. So it's very old. And so that exhibit is going to go away temporarily, and there will be something eventually taking its place, which I think will be very cool. And I can't really say much about it quite yet. But,
Oh, wow, this is exciting.
But yeah, there'll be maybe some thoughts about revisiting all of those different specimens and models in a new way for the 21st century, so to speak.
Very cool.
That is very cool. I was telling Bill about one of the adventures you took me on up there in Chicago, where we went and looked at things downstairs, and I asked you, I said, what is the most interesting, what do you find as one of the most interesting things down here? And we walked down some hallways and down some alleys and down some, I don't even know, if you asked me to retrace those steps, there's no way I could ever come about 5 minutes into it.
Oh, I probably couldn't either, and I work here, so like, this place is a maze.
It's unbelievable how many different layers there are, and things and shelves that roll back and forth, and just you name the crazy stuff. It's like something out of a movie, like a crazy, I don't even understand. And you walk to this one thing, and you open up this drawer, and here's this, I don't know what it is. It's something I ain't ever seen before, and you pull it out, and it's a giant Japanese salamander.
Mm-hmm.
The Field Museum is full of so many interesting things like that, from meteorites to, again, I every time I go there, I try to find a category or an area and hit it and spend 2 or 3 hours there and dig through it. I don't think there's anything else in the country. The Smithsonian has some cool stuff, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's anything that really adds up to what you guys have going on there.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, like I've, the Smithsonian. That's they're no slouch either, for sure. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some really, really great institutions that are dedicated to just educating the public and have amazing collections. But like there's still a lot to be done about making it accessible to people, making sure that everyone can participate. And yeah, I think that's kind of something that I want to focus on eventually as well too, is making sure everyone that wants to can really see everything here.
As someone who's drawn toward the educational side of it, what do you find, what do you find your real passion in on the educational side? Obviously, you have stuff in the crocodilian world that you love talking about, but outside of that, what really draws your passion, and where do you see that going over the next few years?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think along those lines, like kind of the mindset that anyone can be a scientist, and all of that starts like whether it's in your backyard. I mean, like people that live here in Chicago, they might not necessarily have a backyard, but they might have a local park, and that can be a great spot to just start making observations about what's around. Like what are some of the native wildlife that you might see, or what are some interesting plants that are growing that don't grow anywhere else in the world that are right here in the city. And so like I think that for me is just getting people excited about what's in their backyard, and then that's a great starting point, and then allowing them to kind of venture out and be like, yeah, there's great things all over the world, and not everyone's gonna maybe be able to go on the other side of the planet to see giraffes or lions or what have you. But starting at home, I think that's what I really try to instill with visitors that come here, is just like start with what you see every day that you might take for granted, and really kind of dive in and see what's special about it. And I think that's what I'm really passionate about.
I'll tell you what, after that visit with you and walking through those things, Marissa and I, who are my friend who was with me there from Belize, we've talked about that adventure down there several times, and I have started studying giant Japanese salamanders to a point where I want to go to Japan and go in the mountains and find a giant Japanese salamander. Like so
Yeah.
bad it's driving me insane.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I mean, I've never been to Japan, but like that I think that's a worthy goal, I would say. I'd say you have my full support with that. And if you go, let me know, because I want to go too.
Yeah, no joke, man. It's just like it's what you're saying. It's things that are maybe outside of your realm of knowledge or understanding or even having any idea they exist. And that museum and y'all who work there are able to open up these worlds to people that otherwise they might necessarily ever even get out of their cave and go see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the world is so big and there's so much to see, and just everyone's got to take some time just to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. I mean, literally, but also figuratively, like see what's around, because there's just incredible stuff around every corner.
Okay, other question. You said farm in the middle of Chicago?
Yeah,
I've been,
caught
that's
my
been in my
attention.
it's been stuck in my head ever since, and I'm trying to figure out where that is and what that is.
Sure. So it's connected to Lincoln Park Zoo, which is a zoo I used to work at. And so basically it's a farm. They've got cows, they've got chickens, goats. They had ponies when I was there. I don't know if they still do. It's been a few years. And basically it's kind of having conversations with folks that, again, live here in the city that might not be familiar with agriculture, might not have ever been to a farm. But talking about, where does milk come from that you buy at the store? Where do eggs come from? Where does a lot of our food come from? It has to be grown. And so, again, this is a few years ago, but they had a full working garden where they were growing all kinds of food, where the community could come in and, take home some like tomatoes or lettuce, that sort of thing. And, it's just a great means of educating the public about food and where it all comes from.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I never would have expected a farm in the middle of Chicago.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful setting, believe me.
Yeah, Chicago's very well known for having plant life and a lot of different plants and gardens throughout the city. I dare to say, isn't the Latin name for Chicago something along the lines of a city of gardens or something like that? John, am I wrong?
So there's, I would have to, I don't have it in front of me, but there's Herbs and Horto, which is like the I guess the motto of the city, I, for lack of a better term. And yeah, it means city and a garden. The name Chicago itself, I believe it's Native American. That means like stinky onion. So like
really, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Set
I
in
guess
the bar, huh?
Yeah.
where we have skyscrapers now, it used to be there were just wild onions growing. So
Wow.
like it's kind of interesting how like that legacy is with the name still.
Interesting. Yeah, I know it was I guess it was onions, and then it went to the number one place for cattle, right? Cattle being processed.
Yeah,
Oh.
the Chicago stockyards for sure. I mean,
yeah.
that was a thing for a
Meat
while.
packer
I
to the
mean,
world.
yeah, I think Upton Sinclair wrote the book The Jungle about it. I haven't read it myself, but apparently it talks all about that whole deal.
Our country has a very interesting history. You know, each of these big cities, there's a real deep dig into them if you want to go into it. It's very unique. And Chicago, I
Yeah.
think, has one of the most interesting ones.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting city.
All right, John, I gave you some homework.
Yeah,
Let's jump into the homework.
Okay.
So, do you have a topic, or is it broad spectrum?
Is broad. Oh, so for my trivia questions for you guys, they're pretty broad spectrum. They kind of relate to, I guess, some of my experience to an extent. But it's pretty much a grab bag. So there's no like singular theme, I guess.
So, just so we know here, if we're setting a standard on the set where we're at over here, Cindy is probably a little bit ahead of Bill, but not by much. But they're both
Okay.
way ahead of me. let's just be being very honest over here.
All right.
All right, John, go ahead. Hit us with number one.
Okay, number one is, what is the fastest animal on the planet?
I think I know this.
Isn't it the cheetah?
That's what I thought.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are saying cheetah?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. If we're talking
Is that
about, no. I changed my answer. If we're talking about land or air, in the air, it's a whole different animal.
Oh, then it's the
Well,
peregrine
this is fastest animal. So take that for
Ooh,
what you will.
the
Yeah,
peregrine
animals.
falcon.
Yes, it's the falcon then. Yes.
Yeah.
Peregrine falcon. You were absolutely right. Yeah.
I had to take a
Yeah.
second guess on
I
that
did
one.
not know that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I had to take a very second grab on that one.
Yeah, that was a
We
good
actually
catch.
have them here in Chicago too. They live on the tops of skyscrapers up here, and they gives them a good vantage point to find food.
Interesting. I had somebody with WGN reach out to me a few months ago about some bald eagles that were actually hanging out in the city,
Oh, that's awesome. Cool.
which I didn't know was a
hadn't heard
thing
that.
either. I had no
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, I know we have seasonally, I think maybe a month, we have some that travel through Florida, like going south and then coming back north, but I don't think they're here for very long.
Okay.
I didn't know you guys had them in Chicago. I had no idea.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
I'm going to have to look for those next time I'm up there. Very,
Cool.
very interesting. All right.
Ready
sir.
for number two?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what are the 7 toppings on a traditional Chicago hot dog?
Oh
There's
gosh.
7 of them.
Yep, I think I know this. I'm gonna stay away from this one and let you guys handle it. Go ahead.
Onions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Onions, yes.
Sauerkraut.
No.
No.
Okay.
No. Is there,
but-
I
don't think
have
so.
no idea.
No, there's onions, pickles,
Mhm.
Pickles.
mustard.
Oh, so Bill actually travels doing hot dog tours, so
What?
he should know this.
Tomato.
Hold on, is this real? You do?
Yeah. Oh
What?
yeah. But I
He's
don't like.
talked about this
I,
before
but I
on
don't
here,
like
yeah.
a Chicago dog. It's got,
You got 4 so far.
it's got
so you
way
said,
too much of a salad on there. As far as golly, what else?
Mustard.
I said mustard.
Oh,
Mhm,
okay.
You got mustard.
Yeah, I said mustard. We did onions, mustard.
I don't think they do
pickles,
mayonnaise. No.
Nope.
Tomato. What about relish?
Mhm.
Do they do a relish, or is that the pickles? Is that
Nope, relish is separate. You said both
Okay.
pickles and relish, so those
Pickles,
are
okay.
two of them.
So that gets me to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's 3 more.
Is
So there's
chili,
7 total.
Is
I'm guessing
chili
onions.
standard?
I'm guessing onions.
No, we already said onions.
Oh,
right?
okay.
We
You
started
said
off with
onions, yep.
Yeah. Started off with onions. Cheese. They put cheese on
No
it.
cheese.
No cheese on
No
it.
cheese.
Golly, I don't know. I'm stumped.
I know what you don't want to say, but I'm not going to get into it.
Well, yeah, you don't say ketchup.
No, you do not ever say ketchup.
I was going to say ketchup.
Do not
Oh,
even,
no,
don't
no,
even
no.
go there.
What?
In
You
your,
will
in your
be
guesses.
derided.
Yes, don't even in your guests go there.
What is,
I've been,
what is
I got,
wrong with
I got
you?
kicked out of a building one time for saying
What?
I wanted ketchup
He
on a hot
wanted
dog.
ketchup on a hot dog. They
Oh,
kicked him
man.
out.
They literally told me to leave.
What?
That was after
I,
celebrating me being there, and they actually told me to leave.
Yeah, they're like, no,
Wow.
go.
Yeah, like no, you can't.
Jalapenos?
I am not the hot dog police, so I would not begrudge you if you put ketchup on your hot dog. But some people absolutely
John, you
will.
should not say things like this in living in Chicago. They will find
Yes.
Oh, I know.
What about jalapenos?
Ooh,
Is
You've
that
got-
what-
well,
Oh wow.
Well, they're peppers, so
Peppers.
yes, I'll
Peppers.
give
Okay,
you that one.
peppers.
The
Okay.
last one is very tricky. Very
Very
tricky.
tricky. All right, hit us with it.
Is it chili?
It's celery salt.
Oh,
Celery salt.
Yes, celery.
What in the
salt.
Yeah,
world is
so-
celery salt?
But no ketchup.
No,
No ketchup. So
Cindy,
yellow mustard,
Don't say that
onions,
while we're talking about this.
a pickled relish, tomato slices, sport peppers, and celery salt.
Tomato slices are technically ketchup.
Or pre-ketchup.
Yes.
Pre-ketchup,
Yeah,
yes.
Yes,
they're
pre-ketchup.
pre-ketchup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your belly says that's ketchup.
Yeah.
That was a great question.
That was a good
really
question.
good
I like
That's
that
a really good.
question, yeah.
I've never had one made that way. I've had a couple at Cubs games where they just give you the hot dog and tell you to work it out.
Yeah.
And I went to
Some assembly required.
what's the place called that serves the hot dogs? It's like a fast food place up there.
Portillo's?
Yes, there you go. I went to a Portillo's one time,
Mhm.
and that's where I got kicked out. Copy that.
Bummer.
Yeah, it is what it is.
He learned
I-
a lesson.
I know I don't ever eat ketchup on a hot dog, but I asked just to see what would happen. So that was my own fault.
Oh,
It
Oh,
was a bold move.
It
Bold
was
move.
like I just
It
wanted to
was.
see how bad it would actually go, and it was impressive.
you were testing the waters.
I was like normally for me it's mayonnaise mustard on a hot dog. I don't ever have ketchup. I'm not even a ketchup fan. I just wanted to see.
Mayonnaise and mustard.
Oh yeah, jam up in a crazy mix, like just mix it all together.
Nice.
No.
Yeah. What about you, John? How do you have your hot dog?
You know, I go for the Chicago style, but I have them hold the onions. But everything else is usually pretty good for me. But yeah, the onions just don't agree with me. But that's how I roll.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here's number 3.
Number 3. Okay, so I'm going to have you put the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks in order from biggest to the smallest.
Oh goodness.
Oh, this
we're
is a great
talking-
question. Oh my gosh.
So we're talking, just to be clear, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. So put those in order from
I think Animal
biggest
Kingdom's
to
the biggest,
smallest.
right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'd say-
Animal Kingdom should be the biggest.
And then it would be Epcot.
You think so?
Really?
Yeah.
Two for two. Two for
Yeah,
two.
then
Yeah, there you
Epcot.
go.
Then
Magic
I
Kingdom.
think
Then Disney.
Hollywood Studios is the smallest.
Yeah, I'd say Disney then Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
How close
Okay,
are we,
so you-
John?
So you're saying, okay, so Animal Kingdom, Epcot, you got those locked down. You're good.
Right.
So
We're-
you say number 3 was which one?
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, wait a second. Let us think about this for a second. I'm saying, yeah, we're saying Magic Kingdom, then Hollywood Studios. So Hollywood Studios recently has been expanded with the whole Harry Potter thing. So do you
No,
still
no,
think
Star
no,
Wars.
no. Harry Potter. Yeah,
Harry-
Star Wars. They do
Harry
Star Wars.
Potter.
Star
Harry
Wars.
Potter's over at
Universal.
Universal. Yeah.
Okay, so
There you go.
So you
I-
feel pretty good about that, but saying Magic Kingdom is bigger than?
He didn't agree with us right away, so we may be wrong. But
Yeah, I bet you it's close. I bet you it's really close. Cindy, do you have opinions? I haven't been to the Mouse World in a long time.
I agreed with your ranking, but I now agree with Bill that we are wrong.
Bill, do you want to change it?
Okay.
Quarterback this thing for us. Bill.
Yeah, but let's keep it. Magic Kingdom and then Hollywood Studios is the smallest.
So-
Because I've walked Hollywood Studios and it doesn't take very long.
It doesn't take very long. Disney takes a while.
Yeah. Because you got all the different areas.
Although I haven't been to either one in quite a long time.
I've never
Me
been
either.
to Hollywood Studios.
Oh, you haven't?
Mm-mm.
Lucky you.
Tower of Terror.
Lived
Never
here my whole life. Never been.
Lucky you,
trapped
Cindy.
in the Tower
Oh, I'm
of
sorry. I did not say that. We would love to have you as a sponsor, Universal Studios.
Disney.
It's Disney,
Disney,
dude.
Frank.
Sorry,
Keep
Disney.
switching your
Yeah,
theme
dag
parks.
nabbit. There's too many of them over
You're
there.
killing me here.
I lose track of it. There's too many of them.
Okay, John, tell us.
Okay, so the numbers that I have show Hollywood Studios edging out the Magic Kingdom
Okay.
just by a little bit, and I believe that has recent change because they have expanded.
Oh,
since,
okay.
Yeah, I knew they got
they
bigger.
added Star Wars.
Yeah. The
Yep.
Star Wars is really
So what is the difference between Universal Studios and Hollywood Studios? They're both studios, so it rocks my world.
well,
I can't
it's
keep
all
track of
about
which one's
who they
which.
have licensed. The
They're just owned by different
Right.
Disney
entities,
versus
yes.
Universal.
Yeah, Universal Studios.
But here, I thought they were all
different
Disney.
properties. No, they're
No.
not. No. Well, the 4 that we ranked are all Disney. Yes.
And everything else is something else.
But you're talking about Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure.
Oh, so
is
they
a
own by the
whole
same
different-
company?
Nope.
They're all of those
Separate
are not
companies.
Yes, separate companies. Yes.
So they're not like Disney. They're not conglomerates within themselves.
Well, no.
No, Universal and
Universal
Islands of Adventure
and
are all-
Islands of Adventure, yes, are owned by the same.
Okay.
It's all that and
So there's 6 of them over there.
yeah.
But then Universal is
Then you got
building a new
SeaWorld.
park.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't wait.
Universal's building a new park
What?
at the over on
Epic
Epic Universe,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
which
can't-
happens to be right beside my brother works for Lockheed Martin over there, and it's right beside them.
That's
They're
awesome.
building it right beside them.
That's gonna
Wow.
be a little disruptive.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm learning things. All right, John, hit us with number 4.
Number 4. What fictional quartet's main mode of transportation is called the Ecto-1?
Ghostbusters.
There you go.
Yeah,
there it
Cindy.
is.
Just
Yeah,
blew it
just
out of the
boom,
park.
right there. Boom.
Wow. That was really
Piece
good.
of cake. Piece
Okay.
of cake on that one.
We got one more?
One more, and this one, I think you guys might get this one. What do you call a group of rhinos? What is the collective noun for a group of rhinos?
Dag nabbit, I know this.
I don't.
I know this, but I don't know it.
I would say a pod, but I'm probably wrong.
No, that's whales.
Could be rhinos too.
It
you
could
know?
be rhinos too. I
A
don't know.
her-
I don't know.
Are they not a herd?
That
Maybe.
makes sense. I think it's elephants though. I don't know. Does it count for an animal that's in the water? Wait, are we talking about
It's-
rhinos?
Yeah.
We're talking
Rhinos,
rhinos.
yes,
Oh,
rhinos.
okay. I'm thinking hippos. Oh my
Hippos.
garage.
We've been talking about hippos the last couple of weeks.
We've
so.
been talking about hippos nonstop. It is what it is.
Actually, I do think I was just picturing a hippo in my
Because
when
I
we were
was
talking
too.
about rhinos.
My mind
if
went
we're
to
being
hippos.
honest.
Is
Yeah.
it weird that a rhino is kind of like a land version of a hippo, even though a hippo is kind of land and water? They're a very strange critter. If a hippo had a horn, that'd be some crazy stuff. But their teeth
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
are like horns,
So,
so it's
Yeah.
just spooky.
the rhino horn, what is that made out of?
Keratin.
Keratin?
It's it's hair.
Yeah, it's keratin.
Yeah, it's keratin. It's
Yep.
a hair, which is absolutely freaky to me.
Hmm.
So, okay, what's a Frank? What is a group called? You said you knew it.
So a group of rhinos is called a crash of rhinos.
Crash
That's
of rhinos.
amazing.
There we go.
That makes sense.
I
Crash.
love it.
Who in the world came up with it? You know what?
It's
There's
like, you know how there's like a murder,
A
of
murder
a
of
murder of
crows.
crows. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a bunch
it's-
of
I
crows over
mean,
there. We're going to call that a
I'm
murder.
curious who comes up with these
Yeah.
and who determines what's going to be
Is
what.
there like a
but
council? A council of groups will now meet.
I would like to
we
start
will
the council
decide.
and we rename all the groups. I would like to do. John, do you think we could do that? Let's start a council and let's rename all the groups to something that actually makes sense.
I mean, I'm open to it. I don't know who we talked to about that.
I don't
but
think you
yeah,
can get a following.
I
Let's
don't.
do
I
it.
don't
It's
think
been
we talk to
decided,
anybody
yeah.
about it. We just bring the people
We just
together and
do
do
it,
it.
yes.
Yes.
we just do it. And
In
be
the
like,
age
from
of the
henceforth-
internet, whoever's loudest is
Yeah,
right.
if you say it with enough authority.
That's right. We'll just say we're right.
Exactly.
There you
John,
go.
thank you so much for being on and chatting with us. We really, really
Of
appreciate your
course.
time. I know you're a busy
Yeah.
guy, and it's an hour earlier up there. You're probably still at work, and man, thank you so much for your time. Truly.
No worries. I appreciate getting to chat with all you guys, and I look forward to hearing more episodes from you guys. So thank you so much for having me on today. It was great.
All right, brother. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you again, and we really, really appreciate you.
All right. You guys have a great one. Take care.
All right, you too, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
A crash of rhinos. That is going to rock my
crash of
world for the rest of the day.
Well, it should.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess if they crashed into you, it really would rock your world.
Yes. I
Rock
would
you
think so.
around. I was a crash of rhinos and had big eyes, and it was a terrible thing. It told me and my vehicle.
I don't know. When I get into voice mode, it's already too late. It's already too
is.
late. So
It
it
is.
is what it is. So you think we should call that an afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well,
I
we
think
call it an
should.
afternoon, but we have maybe we've been doing our podcast after this,
Maybe.
which sometimes we do on Wednesdays, but nobody knows that.
No, it's a secret. Don't tell anybody.
We never talked about this. They got a little flashy thing like
It's-
Men in Black. I just flashed you and you forgot. Not everything that happened the rest of the podcast, but the last 30 seconds. It was better for you that way.
The two of you that are listening right now, we don't.
All right, y'all. Thank you very much for tuning into the EEARSS Podcast, produced here at Terrier TV. It is Environmental Education, Awareness, Research, Support, and Services, or EEARSS, the longest acronym known on the planet. We really appreciate you. You can find us over at EEARSS.org, alligatorrob.com. Thank you to Edna Wilson with Celebrate Remax Aerospace, Pat Fisher Nissan, Kelsey's Pizza, and 1,000 other people that help us do what we do. We'll catch you all next week. Bye-bye.